We're at the home of Bob Packer in Hectorville, and we're going to learn about raising chickens in your backyard. Well, Bob, this is really a growing hobby for a lot of people around the state. And you have a nice collection of actually several different varieties. Some of these are more for egg laying and others are more for show. Tell me about the egg layers.
Okay, the one behind us here are Buff Orphingtons. They originated in England. They're a dual purpose breed. Actually, they're for egg laying and also for meat. Of course, mine are not meat birds. They're all strictly pets and eggs. They're very prolific. They lay an egg a day, basically. So out of nine chickens, I usually get an average of 8 to 9 eggs a day.
Excellent. And you have another variety that primarily layers those black ones.
Yeah, those black Australorps. They originate in Australia. They're also prolific layers. I usually get an egg a day, sometimes 2 eggs out of a hen, and I've got 6 of those. So I usually get 6 to 7 eggs a day out of them. They're very good eggs.
Now you keep roosters and hens because you're also breeding.
I'm also getting into the breeding program. I've got 1 rooster in here for 10 hens. On the other ones, I've got 1 rooster for 5 hens. Rooster will cover anywhere up to 10, 12 hens.
Okay.
If you have less than that, they kind of abuse them. You can see some of these have been molested a little bit.
Yeah, they're picked on a little bit.
But
yeah.
But so I'm trying to get into breeding. I'm going to sell hatching eggs and also chicks.
Okay, but people who are just raising eggs don't need the rooster.
You don't need a rooster
and in
for
fact,
eggs. Yeah, that's a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, you don't have to have a rooster for eggs. You have to have a rooster for fertile eggs.
Now, what are the kind of basic requirements if we want to keep chickens in our backyard? What do we need?
When they're chicks, you start them on what they call chick starter, which is a high protein. I feed 23% protein feed to my chicks. Then when you get into layers, you get 16 to 18%. And that keeps them up. I know people feed less than that, but I like to keep my chickens up to health. You have to feed them vitamin water. These chickens get vitamin water for about 3 days. I change the water out, and then I put apple cider vinegar in the water. It also cleanses the waters and cleans their system out. It acts as a dewormer.
Oh, okay.
Or a wormer, I guess is the word I want to use. And then I give them just fresh, clean water for a day. Then I start back on the vitamin regime. Right now, because I'm getting ready to get some more eggs for hatching, I'm also feeding them a high protein vitamin that increases their vitality, if you will. So I get better eggs out of them.
Now, in addition to the feed, they also need grit, right?
Grit is a finely ground granite. It goes into their craw along with their feed. They don't have teeth and they don't have stomachs per se to grind it, so they use the grit to grind up the feed so they get the nutrients out of it. I also feed these squirrels in here oyster shell, ground up oyster shell, because that increases the calcium in the eggs. Because if you don't give them the oyster shell, the eggs start absorbing the calcium out of their bones and they'll get poorly, as we say.
Yeah. Now, for their shelter, you have a variety of different types of pens throughout here. Let's look at one of the more simple styles that maybe someone just getting started might use. So this is kind of the basic minimum of what you would need to keep chickens. They need a roost, right?
they need shelter for one, from the sun and also from the rain. So that's got wood shavings in there so they can bed down in it, and if they get old enough, they'll start laying in there.
Yeah.
And I built it, it's a little high, so I built that little ladder there for them so they can get in at night.
And you also talked about wanting to cover this pen as well.
This will eventually be covered with black netting to protect one from hawks, because there's enough dive room in here for a hawk to get to them, and also to provide shade for them. It won't provide rain protection because it's porous, but it'll give them shade.
And you also mentioned you could use all sorts of recycled materials. You have some soda containers in here.
Soda syrup containers from a soft drink company down the road. I bought them and cut them up and using those. I've got a feeder in there I made out of a 3-gallon bucket. If you see, there's a milk jug and a
it's your water.
flower pot thing for water that I made.
So a lot of scrap lumber and recycled material.
If you come down this way, in this pen, the shade shelter is made out of 2 wooden shutters.
Oh yeah.
That came from a place across the street. She gave them to me, and I just nailed this frame together, and so they've got shelter in there. Also another homemade feeder that I made Those feeders cost about 35 bucks each when you buy them. And I had the bucket, so it cost me nothing.
You have one more shelter here that's actually movable, and that's real common. A lot of people are interested in this.
This is what we call a hoop coop. It's made out of fence paneling that are 50 inches high and 16 feet long. I bend them over in a half circle. This is a 2x4 frame around here. It's 8 feet wide and 12 feet long. 3 panels fit into it perfectly. And then I cover it with a tarp. And
how many chickens could you keep in a coop this size?
It's big enough for about 10 chickens. I don't like to coop them up, so I let mine free range out. When I let them out in the morning, I keep them in here at night for predator control, of course. And I open this up in the morning and let them out, and they come out here and feed and graze and water.
And chickens will naturally come up to their coop at night.
They'll come in here automatically. The rooster leads, and they just follow behind him, and they go in there and they go to roost in there. I've got one hen in there that I think is laying right now, as a matter of fact. Now this is movable. I usually pull it around my truck. It's a little heavy for my garden tractor, and I'm too cheap to buy wheels for it. So I came up with this design I found on the internet, and I raise it up with a pickaxe, and I slide it under here, one on each corner. Then I've got a tow rope in the front, and I just pull it another 12 feet to get it onto fresh grass. As you see, this was one of the old ones. And the chicken poop fertilizes it. The chickens eat the grass, so it's a win-win solution. You
can see some areas with the dark green grass over there where you've been before.
If you look real close, you can see where the Bermuda is growing real lushly, is where the chicken tractor stood for a couple days. I try to move it to give them fresh grass, but now they're out there free range and they get all the grass they want. I think she's wanting inside to lay, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to prop the door open.
Okay. Well, I wanted to take a look at your show chickens as well. You have some really interesting varieties.
Our pet chickens, yeah. Let's take a look at the pets.
This is a gorgeous chicken that you have here. Tell me about him.
This is Angel. Yeah, it's a she. It's one of the chicks that we raised here. One of my hens out there raised her. She was in the coop with the big chickens, and then in a rush one morning they injured her leg. So I brought her in the house. She's been in my shower stall for 4 months. I have showered since then. But I feed her vitamin B12 complex, and that straightened that leg problem out. She's ready to come outside. She comes out 2 or 3 hours a day to get used to it. You slowly indoctrinate them into it.
And she's a silky.
She's a white silky
variety.
pullet. Yeah. You see the crest up here and the beard underneath. They've got blue earlobes. They got black skin, black meat, and black bones.
All the silkies do.
All the silkies, regardless of the color, all have the same stuff.
Interesting. You have some other interesting silkies down here that have no feathers on their necks.
These are called naked neck silkies. This buff-colored one here is what they call a bow tie, because underneath his neck there he's got a bow tie of feathers under there. She's also a bow tie. That's a partridge colored. And the one back there is a true clean naked neck. She doesn't have the bow tie. She kind of, I thought she was kind of a vulture when she got hatched out. We liken them to ostriches basically. But
they're really interesting, and this is the group that you're working with breeding.
These are the ones I'm trying to breed for hatching eggs, and also for breeding for sell the chicks. These are going to be my breeding stock. I've got some more of these coming because I need more chickens. So get into the operation. Let me put Angel back.
Okay.
There you go, sweetie. There you go.
Well, I imagine this is a very enjoyable pastime, and of course you get some food out of it as well.
Yeah, we get a lot of eggs. The silkies lay small eggs. About 3 of them will make one normal egg, but they're a lot of fun to mess with. These 3 here sit in this cage behind my computer, so I talk to them, all the time while I'm in my computer room. Then they're coming out into one of the big pens probably next week.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for sharing your chickens with us. I've learned a lot here today.
Well, I'm still in the learning process. Thank God for the internet, because I'm constantly researching things on what I'm doing, different medications for different diseases and that sort of stuff. And I've got some people on the internet that are my gurus in chicken. I just send them an email and ask them questions, and they answer my questions. So
a lot of good resources online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Glad you came down.